Hi everyone, here for Queer Church. I'm back to starting the week with y'all, at least this week, and whew, it's a time. We just moved into Scorpio season. We are in spooky season. I hope that in any way that you celebrate any of these holidays, Dia de los Muertos, or All Hallows Eve, or Samhain, or just good old Halloween, that you are feeling the energy, that you are also taking some time to connect down to some of the roots. This is, yes, it's horror movie time, and it's the season of the witch, and it's also the time of the thin veil. So if you haven't had a moment to kind of zoom out, to root down, to reconsider what we're walking towards this week, especially, this is a little reminder, a little invitation. Maybe as we start, you even give yourself a moment to just arrive, to breathe, to rest, to feel into your body. Maybe for a moment, you conjure up a fun memory of Halloween or spooky season, um, that brings a smile or some lightness or some depths to this moment. And yeah, I love this because, as they say, the veil is thin. As many of y'all know, I'm Chinese and Polish, and in my house, my grandfather, we had an altar for him to honor him growing up, and it was always the veil is thin. For Chinese folks, it's often very thin, and my dad was very much like, just talk to him. If you want to say anything, actually, he's over here. Hi, Grandpa. But if you want to say anything, just say something. And it was really interesting because I was also raised Catholic. And so in the Catholic Church, it's like there's so many procedures, there's so many rituals, there's a hierarchy. There's, oh, if you want to speak to that, well, they might be in purgatory. Well, they might be now they're here or they're here, and you need these people to talk to them and to go to the special place. And I love ritual. And also, there's something really beautiful about the closeness that we can feel with folks even when they've passed on. And that's what altars can do. Altars can keep alive the energy and create sort of like a teleportation device. Like, I like to think of my ancestor altars as like, you know, if we had like Zoom, if we had teleportation and be like that, you could just pop up, this is where they would pop up. They would know where to find me. That signal is up, that is active. And this is a great time to honor folks we've lost, to speak to them, to ask for their advice, to allow them to filter into our own intuition, to weigh in on how we're living, how we're feeling, what we're wanting, even. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful time to be guided by our ancestors, chosen and in our lineages. Yeah, I hope that you're finding some way of that, bringing that in. I shared a ritual for the new moon in Libra that we had last week that was about calling your energy back. Some version of that can be also shifted for this time, some version of calling in your ancestors, calling in those you've lost, returning their connection to you. You can use some version of that if you're interested in that type of connection, and you can find that on my page. All right. Well, for Scorpio season, the reading today, this week, I wanted to just go right to the source of Chani Nicholas and read a little bit about what they have to say around Scorpios. So, as always, the reading is just a time for you to be read to relax, to let your mind perhaps melt and just see what sticks, let everything else melt away, and we'll be honing in on Scorpio. And this is Scorpio Sun. The sun in this fixed water sign shines with a mystery, alluring glow. Fixed water doesn't flow freely, but concentrates deeply. It harbors secrets like currency and holds its energy close, like a good hand in poker. You cannot fool this sign. It is most likely knows your motives before you do. Yeah, I always like to remind folks that Scorpio is a water sign. Even though it's pretty fiery, even though it's deep and mysterious, it's still water. It's still heart led. It is still maybe perhaps more of the swamp than the ocean, but it is still heart led. Rarely does Scorpio shy away from the glory, the difficult, or the disastrous. The sun in Scorpio knows that being connected to the entire experience of life, including death, is regenerative, powerful, and precisely what being here is all about. I was talking to someone about Earth School. This idea that here we are, the way I was taught it in energy work is that this is hell. Like this, the 3D, the three dimension, you and me being in bodies, having to move around is not necessarily hell, but this is the hard part. That above and below, there is freedom and connection and wisdom. And here, when we come down to be in a body, it's like, okay, I'm gonna work on something for myself, for my community, for all of humanity. And that's why I've taken this life sentence. But Scorpio kind of has that like regeneration, like, yes, I understand I'm here for the hard stuff. I didn't just come to lay on a beach. Like I'm here to see what's underneath. And I'm interested in that intensity. The symbol for Scorpio is the scorpion. Scorpions await their prey. They do not hunt. They do not chase every option. They do not waste their time on anything they are not certain of. But once they have set their sights, you can be sure that they will withstand everything from agony to existential dread and boredom to get it. That is the sun, that is the pole, that is where we are at this time. We do have next week, we're leading up towards a full moon in Taurus, which is just a beautiful grounding. So here we're sort of, last week we were in Libra, we were in air, we were in connection, we were in shifting and balancing and change. And this week we're very much in the murk. We are in Scorpio. We are in the hollows eve, the underneath, the other side. And then next week we go into grounding. We'll be in Taurus. We'll be in full moon time. And if you're interested in more of that, I'll be sharing. And I also have a moon meet in Oakland to focus on the new moon in Taurus, on the full moon in Taurus next Tuesday. All right, for pulls today, I wanted to pull part of a spread that was created by Danielle Carruthers, my partner in magic, who co-founded the Witch and Healer Collective with me. And we have a spread I shared earlier today around Scorpio season through the veil. And I'd love to take this time to pull for all of us, do a collective and energy pull using this spread. And then I also hope, in addition, you'll do your own, get your own messages. But for now, let's see, pull collectively through the veil and get some messages for what our community, especially queer and trans folks, need to hear at this time. And the first card is what is being composted. What is being composted in our community. The second card is what hidden wisdom wants to be heard. You can send your energy this way. The third is what magic wants to be embodied. And there is so much magic, y'all, going on right now. What of this magic for our community wants to be embodied. And then for us, we'll stop at card 4, which is what mystery is guiding us. What mystery is guiding us. All right. So I'm going to show those all. And then just so you know, there's an optional 5th card where you pull the bottom of the deck. I'm going to, actually, I might do that. Let's see where we're at. For now, card 1, what is being composted? I can't wait. This is so rude. Y'all, our rest. We have been in the hermit year. We've been pulled inside. This is a reminder, one, to melt our brains and compost if what's going on in our heads. And also, how do we compost our own rest that is maybe keeping us tired? Sometimes when we're resting, we're also building walls that creates a capacity that's less and less and less. How do we work with what we have? How do we believe in the capacity that we can have, especially mentally, and let some of that mental rest, mental blocks, perhaps mental scrolling and letting go, mental like disconnection. How do we compost that and let that go? What hidden wisdom wants to be heard? Ooh, this is the Ace of Wands, hidden wisdom. This is fire, fresh, new ideas. This is the fiery part of Scorpio. This is that log that's been lit in the middle of the lake. How do we as a community, as a collective, think about the new ideas as wisdom? Maybe we've been doing some things the same way with our revolution, with our community networking, with our advocacy, with our self-care, with our community care. That needs to be shifted and changed and be new. Let's listen to the new. Let's start some things fresh. What magic wants to be embodied? This is so great because like this is the wisdom that wants to be heard, and then this is the magic to embody. So we have to listen to the new ideas while embodying in this Scorpio season, in this time, as we're in this Q4 end of the year for 2025, and in this thin veil where we can get those other messages. How do we embody being the master of change, right? And that puts a little context for this also, like why we're resting here, because we're changing. What mystery is guiding me? What mystery is guiding me? Major card, being guided. This is our time. The veil is thin. The ancestors are here and present. The guides that have been pulling the strings when we are patient enough to let them. The mystery guiding us is that we are the drivers. We are the drivers. We have the action. We can decide the path that we go on as a community. How do we do that? How do we return ourselves to the driver's seat? There's a lot of noise out there and action trying to make us feel like we are disconnected, like we are hopeless, like we should be scared, like we don't have each other, and we do, like we don't have agency, and we do. What does that look like? How do new ideas about how we create and work with our magic, how do we let this guide us? Okay, and then I am going to do it, the optional. So at the bottom of the deck, you pull an ancestral blessing. I guess that's why I didn't shuffle again. Oh, so much fire. Oh my goodness. 6 of Wands, the reminder that we are already victorious, that we are already returning from this battle, that we are not, this is not new, that dictatorships are not new, that pain, that policies against us, violence is not new. And we are here with each other and our ancestors already on this direction of change. So much fire, so much change, so much potential for action. And yeah, I'm so excited to just be in community with you all. And if you have some idea of what that sparked for you, an action that you might take, a way that you are grateful that your ancestors are thinking, seeing the victory in our moment right now, like, let me know, share about it. If you want to work with me, I'll be seeing y'all for the full moon in Taurus next week. And otherwise, have a really wonderful thin veil. Have a really wonderful spooky season time. And I'll see y'all on the other side.